Welcome to the Private Practice Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Brooklyn Storm, here to help you unlock the mind, business, and spirit of your private practice success. So whether you're just starting out or you're looking to grow, this is the place for you if you really want to create a thriving private practice. Before we dive in, I want to share something that can really make a difference in your business. Imagine having an expert in your pocket, someone available on demand whenever you need guidance. Well, that's exactly what my new program, Practice Momentum, offers. With over 30 years of experience at your fingertips, you can now get the support you need whenever you need it. Curious? Head over to brooklynstorm.com to learn more. And now let's get into today. Happy Saturday and welcome to another episode of the Private Practice Podcast. Happy Easter. I hope that you're all having a lovely break. Yeah, so it's Saturday morning, we've got Sunday, and then we've also got Monday off. And yeah, I hope that you're being totally spoilt with lots of chocolates, time with loved ones, or time alone, if that's your thing, and that you're getting everything that you need to replenish, recharge, and refuel. Today, I want to talk with you about what's happening in private practice for people at the moment and focus on what's really keeping you stuck and ways that you might be able to shift it without doing things like another course that you're probably only going to log into the first few days after you buy it, and then you'll forget about it, and then you'll go and buy a course that does literally the same thing later on, and you will literally just log in a few times and never use it. But in your brain you'll be like, well, I've already in air quotes done marketing courses, even though you didn't actually complete them. I know that happens because it happened to me too. So someone was asking me, what am I noticing lately in either my own business or with my clients when it comes to feeling overwhelmed or like things just aren't working, even though you might be working really hard. And this in my business, if I think about, a time I felt overwhelmed, I can honestly, hand on heart, say I haven't really felt overwhelmed for a while. The reason is because, I just run my business very differently now. I think in the past when I was feeling overwhelmed, it was like I didn't have much control over things. I didn't feel like I had much control. And as a result of that, I felt like my business was kind of in control of me. I felt like, they just weren't, my business wasn't really supporting me. Apart from financially, it didn't give me a lot of the support that I have now from my business. And also my boundaries were, I wouldn't even say that I had boundaries, honestly. Like I had them in my head, but actually, using them was a completely different story. As I mentioned recently, my email this week, like there were absolutely times where I would see clients in my downtime, or I would write letters or reports and not charge for them, and I'd do them on the weekends and stuff like that. So that was when I did start to feel overwhelmed. It was like I was being consumed by the business, and I was feeling like, I don't know, the business was my whole entire life, and I was working really, 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 really hard. And in terms of remuneration, probably was not at all reflective of the amount of effort and energy and time I was pouring into it. What changed for me was, I guess, as I mentioned just a moment ago, like evolving the business to better meet my needs at the time. So the first evolution came when I released my registration as a psychologist, and I moved over into counselling and expanded from counselling into business mentoring, business consulting, and business coaching. What that whole experience taught me was around the importance of having a model that works for your business. Now, I never knew this when I first started my private practice. Excuse me, buddy. Thank you. Sorry, he's just like scratching up the floor. He does it to, I don't know, it's part of, I was going to say nesting. It's not nesting, but you know what I mean. Like, anyway, he's just doing it to, nest. anyway, I don't want you to be distracted by that. I didn't realize that with the business that I had, that it even had a model, but it turned out it did. And then I learned about different types of business models. And that's when I started to change things. And that's when I started to feel more in control and less overwhelmed. And the other thing that really worked for me was continuing to evolve it. So, one of the things I always say to my clients is, decisions you make today will help you today, but you're never locked in. They're never set in stone. You always change them. Like with your branding, your logo, your business name, the type of services you offer, your niche, like you're never locked in, because you are a living, breathing, human, beautiful soul, and you are going to evolve and grow through things like lived experience, through things like CPD, through things like learning from the clients that you get to work with, right? And so you will absolutely pivot and change. It's okay for you to do that. So yeah, there were a few different models of business that I evolved into, and now I'm in like the latest one for me, which is working really well for me now. And they all worked really well for me at the time. So yeah, I guess understanding the model of business that you're using, even if you didn't consciously, deliberately choose it, you have one. Being aware of what it is will be really, really helpful. And understanding that you can shift that model will help unlock a feeling of, well, what's the opposite of overwhelm? I guess for me it was control, feeling more freedom, feeling more autonomy, feeling more like I'm a business owner, not the business owns me, if that makes sense. And I think too, the other thing that can keep us as practitioners feeling like we're really stuck, or feeling like something isn't working, even though we're physically, cognitively, energetically, we're working hard, like we're putting in all of the hours, is because we just don't know what we're doing. It's that simple. And the reason that we don't know, as you know, is because people haven't taught us. Like, we're just never shown. And so what we're doing is we're doing what we think we should be doing, not what we know we should be doing. And when that happens and you're not getting the results, your default is to do more of what you're already doing, because somewhere along the way, your employee mindset was rewarded for, well, if you continue to work hard and you do long hours and you put in the effort and you work overtime and you work on weekends, then yes, you will get time and a half, or yes, you will get this bonus, or yes, you can have time in lieu. Do you know what I mean? So there were rewards that were and reinforcements that shaped our behavior. But now that you're running your own business, those patterns that you learned working for somebody else don't work for you. But you don't know that, so you're stuck in them. And that's why you keep feeling overwhelmed. You keep posting on social media, you keep writing blog posts that don't convert, you keep tweaking your website that doesn't convert, you keep, networking without it converting, all those kinds of things, like going to the GP meet and greets. You go there and you feel like maybe it went really well if you had a good one, but then you don't hear from the doctors and you don't get a referral, and it's like, what just happened there? I better go and do some more GP meet and greets. Or, yeah, my blog's not converting, I better write some more blogs. Or my social media isn't converting. Oh, it's because I'm not posting enough. I better post more. So do you see what I mean? Like, our default is to do more of what we're already doing, but we're hoping that we're going to get a result. That is what is keeping many of us in that cycle of your wheels spinning. So I'm not sure if this is making sense or not. I'm trying to explain it the best that I can, but that's why it's not working, okay? And I think that so many therapists, or women business owners, especially solo women business owners, end up trying to solve the wrong problem, is just because, again, it's just the not knowing what the right problem is. And it's defaulting to past lessons, past conditioning, past programming. that you've learned, usually when you were working for somebody else as an employee. I think another reason why we end up trying to solve the wrong problem is not only because we don't know, but also because there's something called the Dunning-Kruger effect. And that is when we learn a new skill, like we climb that mountain, we conquer it, we, plant our flag on top of that mountain, we feel really, 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 really good. But we don't realize that the thing that we've learned is just one little snippet of like a much bigger thing. And so what happens is we have like this rush of confidence. We feel really confident. We feel like we know it all when actually we don't. It's kind of like Emperor's New Clothes. We think that we know everything because we had this one win over here, or we've got this little bit of knowledge here. It's like if you're in private practice as a counselor or a psychologist or a social worker, have you ever had somebody come to you and say that, they're not sure why they're there? They've come because it was recommended to them, but they don't really know how you're going to help because their nephew's girlfriend is in year 11 and she's done psychology and she's been counselling her. So she's not quite sure what you're going to be able to add to that. You know what I mean? It's like that tiny little bit of, or it's like when you first start learning about counseling techniques, or you first start learning about psychology and things like that, all of a sudden, it's this new hit of information. You feel really like proud of yourself that you were able to take it in and integrate it and learn it and all of that kind of stuff. Now you feel like you know so much, but actually you don't. And the Dunning-Kruger says that when we have learned something like the start of something, or we've learned a little skill or a little bit of knowledge, our confidence goes right up, our ego goes right up. But if we continue on with our study, if we continue on with the learning, what happens is the opposite. It's like a hockey stick effect. Our confidence plummets because now we realize, oh, I didn't know what I didn't know. Look at all this stuff. Now I feel like a goose because I've been walking around thinking that I was, so switched on and like I knew it all. But actually, no, the longer I'm in this degree, the more I'm learning I didn't know. I mean, a good degree is, 3 years or 5 years or 10 years for a reason. It's because there's a lot to learn. So I think that's something else that happens. I think some of us, we have a little win over here and we think that that's all that's required or that's all that there is. We're not aware that there's actually so much more. And so we stay there. And the third reason that I think we end up trying to solve the wrong problem is because, I don't know, I think just like in our brain, we're like, well, I've got my qualification. Now I can start my private practice. And it's like the learning part of your brain just switches off. You're like, it doesn't even occur to you to go and learn how to run a business or start a private practice or do a marketing course. Like that just never even comes into your field of awareness. You're just so focused on, now I'm legally qualified to be on the couch and help my clients. And that's where your energy is and that's where your focus is. So, it just doesn't, it doesn't occur to you to go and acquire skills. And so what happens is you end up being a therapist and you know that you're competent and you're capable and you've got your own unique gifts and style and personality and way of being in the world and all those kinds of things. But you don't know how to run a business. And so now you start to try and apply your therapy mindset or your therapist mindset to running the business, and it doesn't work out and you're not sure why, but you keep doing it, hoping that one day it's all just going to fall into place, that's going to work, right? So I think that's just another way that we're not aware that we're solving the wrong problem. And then lastly, number 4, just a little bonus one here, is I think when we do get stuck, we'll throw up an anonymous post in a Facebook group, or maybe not a post that's anonymous, but we'll call out to colleagues and peers for help, and we'll say, hey, I'm not getting any inquiries from my social media, or I'm not getting, let's start a follow train, let's all like and follow each other's Instagram posts, then maybe we'll get more clients. It's just stuff like that. And it's bad advice. But it's coming because the people who want to help you care about you, they want to see you succeed, but they themselves don't have the knowledge or the skills. So the advice that they're giving you is coming from a place of care and kindness and support and good intention, but it's not based on anything that's actually evidence-based that's going to work. And then if you go and implement that, now you're adding even more things onto your plate when you're already super busy, because you're probably still doing the master's course and looking after 3 kids by yourself and moving house or going through a divorce. And now you've got this new strategy that somebody in a Facebook group's recommended you do. And so you're desperate to get clients or bring in the money or get the new team member. So you do it, not even really thinking about it, not even really questioning. Your focus is on getting it done and implementing it so that you can get this result. So it's that not questioning it. It's not seeking the guidance or the advice from trusted sources, right? You trust your colleagues and your peers. You think, oh, she's got a successful private practice. Well, how do you know it's a successful private practice? Do you know what I mean? Like, what are you basing that on? Is it because she's got a nice website and you think her website is better than yours? No, that doesn't mean that she's successful. Okay. Is it because she's saying she's fully booked? That doesn't mean that she's successful. She could be fully booked with all the wrong clients for all the wrong fees, doing all the wrong work, be totally miserable and nearly burning herself out. But you've made it mean something that she's saying that she's fully booked. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's about being aware of the meanings that we attribute to things, and being aware too of the sources that we're getting our guidance and our information from. And I think those there are some big reasons why we end up desperately trying to get this specific outcome or result in the business, and we keep working so hard, not realizing that we're not working on the right thing. We're off over there when the thing that needs your attention is right here in front of you. You just can't see it. Okay. So if you're someone who feels like you've done all of the right things too, you feel like, I don't know, you're maybe where I was, like you've done courses and you've done strategies and you've done social media, but you're doing all of those things and it's still not clicking. I would say there's a reason for it. I would say maybe those things haven't been what the business has needed, or maybe they've not been what you have needed, right? And it's not always about just doing what everyone else is doing. I think it's very important that you have personalized support, personalized guidance that's relevant to you and your business, because I really feel like, and I'd be interested to know, do you agree, do you disagree? But I really feel like your private practice is like a fingerprint, it's you, like it's your style, it's your vibe, it's your approach, it's your philosophy, it's the things that you stand for, it's the things you stand against, it's your values, it's the way that you work, all of those sorts of things. So I don't believe any two practices are the same. I believe that you need skills to do things, but those skills also have to be relevant. So I can share with you, like I purchased me and my relationship with Instagram. It is not great. I don't know what it is. It's just, I don't know. I'm not in love with Instagram, Facebook, my podcast, my email. They're like my places, because I think I can go deeper and further and do all of the things there. Instagram just feels, I was going to say self-promotion, but yeah, that's what it is. What was I going to say? Yeah. So I bought courses, right, to help me when I was stuck with my business. And I was like, oh, I'm going to do an Instagram course. So I bought an Instagram course off an influencer. And I was convinced that this was going to work for me because they said it would, and I believed them. And they were like, this course has helped, so many thousands of people to, build their audience and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, I'm in. So I bought this course. And then I did it and I started to work through the lessons and the modules. And I was like, oh my gosh, this isn't even going to work in private practice. The things that they were teaching just weren't applicable at all. And then I bought another course. And this course taught me about the business of running a business, right? And I thought, yeah, this is going to be great. It had testimonials, it had this, it had that, all those stories about how all these people had success from this course. So I bought the course and I was really, really excited about it. Again, went into the course, realized that, and I started implementing stuff, okay? I started implementing stuff that I'd never even done before, stuff I'd never considered was, relevant to private practice and all of that. I did it. And then I realized after I'd done it, oh, yeah, this actually isn't really going to work. Like, that's why it's not, because it's not relevant. So I had gone and wasted time, wasted money, all those kinds of things, doing things that other people told me would work, but that actually wouldn't really work for my private practice. And then, of course, I bought lots of courses and I would log in and, go into them for the first little while and be part of the community. And then eventually I would get distracted, go and join another course and another one and another one. And nothing would ever really change or move. So if you're feeling like you've done all of the things too, like you're using the courses and the strategies and the social media, but it's not working, it's probably because it wasn't designed for private practice. There are a couple of clients in my marketing program that had free business coaching. You know how some states in Australia, they've got like government schemes where you can get 6 free, I don't know, they call it business mentoring sessions, I think. So they did that. And then they're really happy with how it went. They liked the people that gave them the mentoring and stuff. And then these people reconnected with me later on and they were like, it's not working. Like, they helped me get my website going and we did all of these things, but it's not working. And I'm like, let me have a look at your website. And they went on the website and it was just full of stuff that was totally irrelevant, or it was against the codes of ethics, or it was this, that, or the other. It was just really badly designed, really badly laid out. It was just, a mess. And their business plans weren't even private practice business plans. They were just like very generic templates you could buy online somewhere, nothing specific to private practice, nothing specific to the model of business that they wanted to use. Do you know what I mean? So then we had to spend time sort of redoing websites and redoing copy. And, once all that was done, then they started to get inquiries and bookings and money, or team members and candidates applying for positions with their group practice and stuff like that. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't know what you don't know. And I love that if you did go and buy the course and if you are using the strategies and things like that, what I love about that for you is that you're obviously someone who's motivated. The drive is there, the passion is there, the intention is there, the commitment is there. You've just been doing the wrong things without realizing that you were doing the wrong things. That's all, right? How do you avoid that? I would just ask more questions. I would say, have you helped other women in private practice? Have you worked with psychologists before? Like, there was one lady that was a private practice owner and she spent thousands of dollars on Google ads. And when I said to her, they weren't converting, right? They weren't working. She did this for 6 months. It was thousands of dollars, wasn't working for her. And then I said to her, oh, okay, show me the ads. I had a look at the ads and I was like, no wonder they're not working. And I said, let's get your ads guy to meet us on a Zoom call. So that's what we did. He came on and then I said to him, how many therapists have you helped with your Google ads? And he said none. So he had no experience, yet she was trusting him to do the ads. So he knew about ads, but he didn't know about the industry. So the things that he was trying to sell and the way that he was trying to market, either were unethical, they were out of alignment, they didn't match with her business, things like that. And also, she had to spend a lot of time trying to train him in what we can do, what we can't do, and stuff like that. But it was a very expensive lesson that could have been avoided had she asked questions, right? So if that's you and you're feeling like, you feel like you're confused about why the answers aren't coming, why it's not happening, I would say, and it's now starting to feel overwhelming, right? You're feeling like the business is like just gobbling you up. I would say have a look at the resources that you've got access to now and just make sure that they're ones that are relevant to private practice and that they're relevant to you. And moving forward, if you're going to buy things, which you will, right? You have costs of doing business. Some of those costs are going to be your membership or your PD or your supervision, your business coaching, all those kinds of things, right? You will be investing. Make sure the next time you go and do something that you ask the person who's offering whatever it is that you're thinking of buying, make sure you ask them, like, have you helped people in private practice with this before? Like, just make sure, right? Is this going to work for me? And how do I know that it's going to work for me? So things like that are really, really important. I think too, one of the other things that gets in the way is that when you're a solo private practice owner, and especially maybe if you work from home like I do, it can be really isolating. And it's different. Like when I had my group practice in Frankston, I had like, I don't know, I think there were like 10 or 11 of us in total, but the way that I had a certain way that I ran it. So I think there were only like 5 or 6 of us on it at a time, sometimes or less, sometimes or more. But anyway, the point is that you had opportunities there to have the water cooler conversations with people. You don't get that opportunity necessarily when it's just you in your little office working from home. And so what happens is you become very self-reliant, and you might not even ask for help. You might not be connecting with others and stuff like that, but you're just sort of telling yourself these old stories that maybe you picked up from your parents, for example, about, hard work brings results. So then when you're not seeing the results, there's a default belief there that, well, it must be because I'm not working hard enough. I better stay back tonight. I better try and cram more in to my day. And so you just keep doing more of the stuff that you're already doing without realizing that you don't need to, that the stuff that you're doing isn't working for a reason, and that the answer is kind of like right here. I think all of that actually changes when you have a specific space to think out loud with someone who understands the business side and, dare I say, the human side of private practice. Having that sounding board, having a space where you can just sort of say out loud the things that are on your mind, like, well, this is what I really want from the business. This is how it's going at the moment. This is what I've been doing. I'm not sure what I could be doing. Like having that space, I think, is so, so, so important. In a way, it's kind of like counseling. Like I know before I started working with my ADD therapist, that I was in my head. Oh, that's not a good pun, is it? Good pun. That's not a good thing to say. But I was like in my head about a whole lot of stuff, and I was carrying and holding on to a whole lot of stuff. But when I had that space with her to say it out loud, it's like a lot of it started to resolve itself, because even just being able to sit with someone who wasn't judging me, who had more knowledge than I do about ADD and stuff like that, was just so, 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 so helpful, because I could say everything and then, receive the feedback, the thoughts, the insights, the guidance, that kind of stuff. And then that calmed me right down, and I would always leave feeling lighter and feeling better. I don't know if that's been your experience too, but that's, I think, the value of having a space, a private space where you get to talk about, the goal that you have, what it's like now, what the challenges are now, how you're feeling about it now, how you'd rather feel about it now, what you're doing. Ask questions, like get the advice and things like that. And from someone who understands, like my ADD therapist has ADD herself. So it's like she gets it. I think it's the same for us in business. And it's a big part of the reason for why I created the strategic shift session. So it's a morning where for 3 hours, it's just myself and a woman in her private practice who is feeling probably not great about herself, confused about why it seems to be working for others but not for her, tired, maybe drained financially, drained emotionally, drained mentally. She's definitely on some kind of hamster wheel. Feels like all the cliches are happening for her. Feels like she's spinning her wheels. Feels like she's stuck in the mud. Feels like it's Groundhog Day. Like she gets up in the morning and she feels behind. And then she goes to work. She's not really sure, apart from the client work that she does, outside of that, she's not really sure what she's meant to be doing. So she does what she thinks she's meant to be doing, and she does it a lot. She does a lot of it. But yeah, and then she'll work long hours or she doesn't switch off. Like she's thinking about it on the way home in the car. She's thinking about it while she's making dinner. She's thinking about it while she would rather be relaxing with her family, watching a movie at night on a Friday, but in her head, like while her body is on the couch with her family, her head is still worried about, is she going to bring in enough clients? Where's the money going to come from to pay the rent? Like, why isn't it working out for her? And she starts to internalize it because there's an absence of knowledge around why it's not working, right? She literally has very limited understanding about why it's not working. And in the absence of that information, our brain moves into confabulation. Our brain does not like gaps. And so it's going to try and fill a gap. And when there's no information there about why something's not working, your brain can't fill that gap with anything other than turning within. And that's when we start to say stuff about ourselves. I'm not cut out for this. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy enough. This will never happen for me. I'm failing. I hope nobody asks me how my business is going. You know what I mean? Like we start to turn it in on us. A really simple example of this is like, I shared this with somebody recently, who was experiencing something similar. She couldn't understand why something wasn't working for her in her private practice. She was a counselor in Wangaratta. She wasn't understanding why it wasn't working for her. And she started to share with me that she just feels like it's hopeless. She feels like she's not cut out for this. All this kind of like self-talk and beliefs were in full swing. And I was explaining the idea of confabulation, and I gave her the example of a time where I had messaged a friend of mine. And normally, if you're in my world, I'm like super responsive. I get back to people as quickly as I possibly can. So my friend and we were like texting back forth. That was our pattern. And then one day, we were texting and then she just suddenly stopped replying. And I wasn't sure why. And so I let it go for a little bit, and then I checked in. I still didn't get a reply. And then I let it go for a little bit longer, and I checked back in and still didn't get a reply. And then it came to nighttime and I was going to sleep, but I really was struggling because what was playing on my mind now was, have I hurt her feelings? Have I upset her? Did I say the wrong thing? Did I do something? And so then I'm there doom scrolling on my phone back through our conversation of earlier that day. And I'm trying to look for any clues as to what could have been taken the wrong way, what I didn't say the right way. Anyway, I didn't hear from her the next day either. And so now I'm really thinking, okay, I'm getting ghosted by my friend here. So then I start sending her messages along the lines of, I'm really sorry if I've offended you. Please respond. Please reply when you get a chance. If I've done anything, please let me know so that I can make it up to you. Like I was going down that path. Anyway, next day, get a message from her, and she's been through all my frantic messages, and she says to me, that she broke her phone and she just had to get a new phone, but the SIM was fine, and yeah, she's back now. But do you see what I mean? Like, in the absence of knowing she'd broken her phone, my brain can't handle not knowing something. It needs to fill in the gap, and because there was nothing to fill the gap with, my brain's like, okay, you're going to be used to fill the gap. So this is what happens when things aren't working out in our business as well. We think it must be us, right? It must be something that we're not good at, we're not competent at, we can't do, we don't know. It's us, right? And it could be really damaging. And when I say that, I'm talking about it can really amplify any underlying or existing symptoms that people might have of things like imposter syndrome, right? Or business anxiety, like the anxiety of running a business and stuff like that. So that's why I made these sessions, right? And the reason that I made them like a morning is because most people are pretty fresh in the morning. I know not everyone's a morning person, but most people are pretty fresh in the morning. But I just wanted her to have, or you, if this is like resonating with you, to have space where there's no rushing. You know how sometimes when you have a call with a supervisor or a coach or a mentor or something like that, you can feel like there's rushing, there's pressure because you've got these questions that you want answered, but you're aware of the time. I want to remove that. I want you to just be able to come as you are, have the space, talk about whatever it is that's going on, and get some support around it. And if there's time permitting, get some support implementing any of that guidance. So these sessions are really for a few things. They're for unpacking, I guess, if it's mindset stuff, like if it's money mindset that might be getting in the way of you getting the results that you want in your business financially, like having your sustainability and stuff like that. Sometimes you might know the process or the tool to use or the strategy to use, but then when I say, oh, how's it going, you'll say, well, I'm not using it because I think X, Y, and Z. That's mindset stuff. So we can work on mindset stuff. We can work on how you're seeing the business through a therapy lens or through an employee mindset lens, and what it can look like through a business mindset lens, and providing you with some guidance around what that looks like so that you're not just winging it or doing what you think, you actually know. And if it's not a mindset shift that's kind of getting in the way for you, or something like imposter syndrome, perhaps it is strategy. Maybe your mindset is exactly where it needs to be, but you just haven't been shown or given or taught the right strategy yet. And so, I can quickly spot that for you, and I can give you that strategy. And if there's time allowing, I can help you implement that strategy or start to implement that strategy depending on what it is and how involved it is, right? But yeah, can absolutely do that. And then for others, it might be around, maybe a combination of those things, okay? So that's what the sessions are now there for, okay? So that you've got that space. You've got that space to unpack things without the pressure of rushing and time constraints. You can access proven techniques, tools, strategies, resources, and things like that if they're needed to help you get from, to overcome this problem. You leave knowing exactly what to do and what to stop doing so that you can get your time back and start to make more money, which feels really, really good because then you're helping more people, right? And the other thing too is that, as I said, if there's time, we'll implement. Plus, for anybody who wants it, more than happy to record the session so that you can revisit all the good bits later on in your own time, and even give you a transcript too if that's something that you would find really, 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 really helpful and useful. So if you've been sort of circling the idea of getting support but maybe hesitating, what I would say to you is you don't have to continue on the way that you've been going. I would say to you, it does get to feel easier. I would say to you, it does get to feel lighter. And the way that it all happens is by having the space to talk it through and get a personalized plan, right? I don't think cookie cutter approaches work for everybody for all of the things. I think there's absolutely a time and a place for them. I think with things like skill building, sure. But if you don't know what skill you need to be building, like how do you even know what to be working on? And I would also say, now that you know that these sessions are here, it's something to keep top of mind for when you're in that moment where you're feeling like, here I am again, it's 5 o'clock and I'm still not leaving. I'm back here writing another blog that's not going to get read, another email that's not going to get opened. Here's my diary next week without any new inquiries. Do you know what I mean? If that's happening for you, I want you to know that this space is also happening for you. You can access it whenever you want, and it's all designed around you, your business, the things that are meaningful to you, the things that are super important to you, and it's all there for you. And then lastly, I would just say, what's it costing you to not get that help, right? So, I mean, if you had the space and you were able to get the support and the guidance and you knew then exactly what to do, you could stop doing all the things that you're currently perhaps spending time on that are getting you nowhere. And what would you then be able to do with that time? You could start getting more inquiries. And what would you do with those inquiries? You could start getting more client bookings. And what would that open up for you that isn't available to you just yet? Do you know what I mean? So it's there. I will pop a link to it in the show notes for those who are interested or want to learn more or read a little bit more about it. But yeah, I hope that this was a helpful episode. Just to loop back to the beginning, like the thing that got me out of the overwhelm was getting one-to-one help without having a big program or anything like that. It was because I was in a position where I was ready for a big program or I couldn't afford a big program. So, I was really thankful to have this space for me. And that's why I want to, return the favor and create this space for you. But yeah, for me, getting out of overwhelm involved actually talking to a real live human being about what was going on, understanding, like getting their expert eyes on my business and pointing out, well, you didn't need to be doing that. Have you got this in place? And I'll be like, no, never even heard of that, and then once I put it in place, things would start to change. So I really feel like that's what got me out of overwhelm. And I really believe that it can get you out of overwhelm too, which is why I've created it and why I wanted to share it with you and just bring it to your attention that it's there. So hopefully super duper helpful episode for you. And if you have any questions about anything that we've discussed today, of course, just reach out and let me know. You can send me an email or connect with me on socials. Otherwise, have a very, very happy Easter. And yeah, I'll see you in the Wednesday episode. Thanks for listening. Bye. And that's a wrap for this episode of the Private Practice Podcast. So as you reflect on today's insights, imagine creating real success in your private practice without going down rabbit holes or exhausting yourself with business activities that don't move the needle. With Practice Momentum, you have push of a button help available on demand. It's like having an expert in your pocket ready to guide you whenever you need it. Visit brooklynstorm.com to discover how Practice Momentum can transform your approach to building a thriving practice. I'm Dr. Brooklyn Storm, and I'll see you next time as we continue exploring the mind, business, and spirit of private practice success.